I'm Phil, this is the Kandarian camera, and welcome to Halloween Horror Nights 2025. So I had no actual intention of coming to Halloween Horror Nights tonight. I came to the park because I'm like, yeah, it's a long weekend, might as well. I'll go do the Dead Coconut Club and I'll do the Tribute Store. And then I'll come back as planned, like halfway through the month. And yeah, I don't know. I made the impulse decision to get a ticket for tonight. I don't think I've ever been here opening weekend, but now like between cast member previews and premium screen and everything, it's kind of like pretty late being opening night. Not doing express or anything, but just seeing what I can get done one night. Alright, heading into Terrifier just in a moment here. It's been about like a 45-50 minute wait. That was with Stain Scream. And I was gonna say this is my obligatory pre-wet pack video, but we're like racing the rain, it looks like, so who knows, I might get drenched from rain before I get inside the house. It wasn't a whole lot of water. I honestly thought it was going to be more like, I don't know, like a waterfall or something. That was nothing. The house was good though, lots of good like scares and everything. Did a decent mix of all the movies and all that, so not a bad way to start the night. Kind of weird, the return path, we're like closer to IOA than we are to studios, like out behind Hard Rock. Yeah, honestly kind of cold. You can go by the old Nickelodeon studios and then get the destruction of Rip Ride. Alright, next up, Jason Universe. Looks like a 55-minute wait. It's weird hearing like the classic Friday music and then seeing like muscle cars. This doesn't really fit. Classic Camp Crystal Lake activity of auto repair. Ooh, spooky. Alright, Jason House is definitely solid. It was definitely more reliant on like being excited to see Jason than it was on, you know, like any particular scenes from a lot of the movies. You're just kind of going through a campground and you know, a lot of Jasons popping up and then some dead bodies and stuff. Definitely want to go through that one again if I have a chance. Maybe not tonight, but the next time I come back. Welcome back, Amity Bathrooms. Since I'm not counting on getting on everything tonight, I'm just kind of going to what I want to do. And heard Macaulay Galkn was pretty good, so I'm going to check that one out. They put up a cover over the tent houses behind Men in Black, which is nice. They're projecting ads for some pretty old movies. I mean, relatively speaking, for, you know, advertising here. Okay, so we got some ads for their own stuff. Alright, Galkn was pretty sick. I thought it was going to be cold in there. It was definitely not cold in there, but it was a very well done house. Very cool themes. Immediately walking in, there was a bunch of Blair Witch, like little like stick people. Then there was like a Wicker Man like halfway through. I'm like, do they know which movie are they ripping off now? Between the London and the San Francisco areas of the park, there's a little photo op with the grabber from Black Phone 2. Next up was one of the pseudo scare zones that aren't really a scare zone. This was Club Horror. Not a ton going on here other than music, some dancers, and a place to get some drinks. The first real scare zone I went through was Mutations, Toxic 20s. This was a lot of fun with the Prohibition era style to it, fit very well in with the New York backdrop. had some really fun characters walking around in various states of being melted. Kind of reminded me of the dude at the end of RoboCop, honestly. The fluorescent green was a lot of fun, and the projections up on the buildings were pretty cool as well. This was definitely one of the top scare zones for me for the night.
Do something!
Under control, you see? Got hellbound on the way. Stay clear of the roads. Stay clear
When I heard Universal was doing a roaming Art the Clown, I thought it sounded like a cool idea. When I saw some of the interactions he had with people on the first night, I got really excited. It looked like a lot of fun. And then I remembered the internet is not reality. So it was cool to see the character walking around the park, but realistically, he had to have a couple attendants with him, and as he roamed around, he attracted an ever-growing crowd of people with their phones out filming, including myself. I know that's part of the problem here, but it's not really an opportunity for you to get your time with Art. Honestly, the less you notice him, probably the better chance you have at getting an interaction with him. It's so fun, it just isn't as cool as it looked in some of the videos I saw. So I got in line for Artista because it said it was 25 minutes. I think it ended up being like an hour and 20 minutes by the time I got there, which is kind of ridiculous. So I think I'll not go through the House Lost Points just for that, but it was a really nice looking house. A lot of, those big facades and stuff they have. Probably one of the best ones I've been in so far in terms of just design, but I also did not get any of the story going through there. So hopefully next time I come through, I'll get a little more information out of it. 5 minutes of Freddy's. That was listed as a 90-minute wait, but ended up being like an hour, which isn't bad. Definitely a decent one, given the limitations of how you have to do that kind of house with a lot of puppets and stuff. The people in front of me seemed to be really into it, which kind of helped. Next scare zone was the Origins of Horror. This was, I think, kind of tied into the Artista house, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the case. But it kind of had the idea of like sculptures and stained glass and gargoyles and creatures coming alive out of the artwork and everything. I swear, both in the Artista house and in this scare zone, they repurposed some of those Celestial Park walk-around characters from Epic Universe that they seem to drop pretty quickly from what I heard. This is always that scare zone that kind of just shows you what else is going to be at the park, especially especially the IPs and everything. But I think they had enough characters this time and enough stuff going on that it actually was a lot of fun. And I'm torn about the Raven characters. I don't know if I love them or if they look too much like Goth Big Bird. Finally getting over to the Hollywood section of the park, I went through Masquerade Dance with Death. This honestly may be my least favorite scare zone of the year. It's fine. I think in theory, there were tons of scare actors, the little stage things going on were pretty cool, the makeup looked good. Honestly, I think the music is what did it for me. Being the whole Masquerade theme, it was just a very calming musical motif going on the whole time while gross things were happening, which can work, but I kind of feel like we need a little bit more eyes wide shut, masked ball kind of music going on to make it more unsettling and unhinged. And this just felt like masterpiece theater with vampires. The other not scare zone was Mel's Die-In, a perpetual Halloween Horror Nights tradition, now given some zombies and some American Werewolf in London scoring. The last scare zone was the Catlady of Crooked Lane. And while they did cut down on the number of real scare zones this year, they kind of had these smaller little entertainment areas instead of a couple of them. They supersized this scare zone. I've been super excited seeing this thing come together, all the old school Halloween decorations, all the jack-o'-lanterns in the trees. Just one of my ultimate favorite themes for any kind of Halloween decorating. I very intentionally made sure I went through this, so I started at the gates and went through to the house at the end, and it works much better that way, I think. You get to see the kind of children going from trick-or-treaters into these kind of half-cat form things. One of the costumes actually reminded me a little bit of like the Ginger Snaps transformation. And then finally you get to the Catlady's house, where there's a little bit of a show, there's a little extra kind of walk-through area, and they integrated it really well so that while all the people were standing there watching the performance, at a key moment the cats actually kind of permeated the crowd and started walking through, kind of catch people off guard and creep them out. A very enjoyable scare zone. When I go back, I'm probably going to try to film more of the show or whatever variations of the show there are.
Well, I just have my little home. All my furry babies all around. Oh, you can see my beautiful forest and the crooked little lane. You children should have more respect. What's wrong? Can't got your tongue. Come and get it, my little babies. One for you, and one for you, and one for you. Do you see all the Halloween decorations, my furry babies? Yes, Fortuna. All the little naughty children will arrive and dinner will be served. Oh, yes, my hungry babies. Horace, when the cat's away, the mice will play. So, let's go catch those mice and gut them proper.
Chainsaw Clowns are finally back in Springfield. It's been, I think, since pre-COVID that we've had them there, and I was so excited to see them back. I guess partially due to the construction on Rip Ride Rocket, the tribute store was located in a weird location this year, partly through Sahara Traders at the exit of the Mummy, and then taking over the arcade building next door. This honestly was probably one of the lamest tribute stores I've been in a long time, mostly because it just didn't have a good flow. Like, it was decorated really well, but it was a little bit small compared to normal ones. And then the main entrance was kind of in the middle of the tribute store, and it bottlenecked really hard going through the way they reset up Sahara Traders, as well as going through the arcade that's just kind of narrow in general anyway. It just made it really hard to kind of enjoy it and appreciate it. And it didn't have that wonderful room-to-room experience that you get with a normal tribute store. You know, usually you get a different theme across different rooms, and this was just really one theme between two rooms, and it was kind of just a lot of the same. I'm really confused why they went this route, because there is that other spot up in Hollywood that they've used in the past. They even used it earlier this year for the Mardi Gras tribute store, and they did a fantastic job with it. It's been the kind of clearance store for a while, and I think that's even been moved down to a single room now. And I don't really see why they wouldn't just let that be the tribute store and put the clearance merchandise elsewhere, because this was not the right move. The main Universal Studios store always carries a lot of the same HHN merch that the Tribute store does too. They split it up a little bit this year. They had a bunch of it where it usually is in the front entryway of the store from the park, but the area that used to be the sweet shop, it's now kind of additional merchandising, became kind of its own mini HHN store or HHN area at the back. They even moved the display from the Five and Dime that's been there previewing all the Halloween Horror Nights stuff into this section now, which is kind of an interesting choice. Honestly, with the Tribute store being so small, this area normally carries a lot of the same stuff anyway, and honestly, I think most of the same merch was in this one, if not all of it. The Wyatt 6 is says 25 minutes. I think it's 25 minutes of just walking through this queue. Okay, I was kidding about the walk on, but it really was. It wasn't 25 minutes by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely was just barely even slowed down in that line at all. So that was cool. I was basically about to head out, and I saw that was short, so I figured I'd try it. I don't think I understood anything about that house. I have a vague understanding of who those characters are, but I really don't know what was going on. I'm going to have to ask my buddy, who is a wrestler, to see if she could tell me what the fuck I just saw. How come I keep an eye out for anybody I know the whole damn time I'm at the park? Don't see anybody, and then as I'm leaving, I see somebody I know. Literally, like, the last moving walkway before my car. So for a completely unplanned night at Halloween Horror Nights, I think that went pretty well. I haven't done HHN without an express pass in years, and I was really surprised how much I was able to get done in the time I had, especially with it being opening weekend. I ended up being able to do all the scare zones, all of the extra entertainment areas, as well as 6 of the haunted houses. I probably could have pushed for a 7th if I really wanted to, but knowing that I'm going back in a couple weeks with Express, I honestly just didn't want to push things beyond where I felt comfortable. My next trip, beyond having Express, I'm also going to have a hotel out there, and in this scenario, I did have to drive back like 2.5, 3 hours home. So I could have stayed another, 45 minutes, half hour, whatever it was, but I knew I was going to be getting home real late as it was anyway. Because I didn't get through all the houses this time, I'm going to save doing any kind of rankings for another video, but I will say everything I did was pretty solid. Even the houses that I didn't really get the story, like El Artista and Wyatt 6, I still enjoyed the houses themselves. And then ones like Terrifier, Friday the 13th, I had a lot of fun in. Even Five Nights at Freddy's. Even though the real horror of Five Nights at Freddy's was trying to prevent the group of kids with broccoli haircuts from cutting in line 800 times. Seriously, we need a new rule. If you cut in line, regardless of who you are, what your age is, gender, whatever, the people that you cut in front of get to fight you. Definitely need to implement that in future Halloween Horror Nights. Another thing I was a little worried about, and I'm curious to see how it might be different next time, were the additions of the no scare or limit scare necklaces they were doing this year. Hallow Scream's done these for a while, so I'm kind of used to seeing them at events. But one thing I have disliked about Halloween Horror Nights in recent years is that they've gone very family friendly, trying to appeal to as many people as possible. And I get it, more people in the door means more money for the parks, but Halloween Horror Nights was always supposed to be in somewhat adult-themed event. I think they've said 13 and up or whatever for a while now, but I was really worried this necklace is going to lead to an influx of people bringing a lot of little children to this, and it sounds like that did happen. I did hear some reports of people complaining that they brought their very young child to Five Nights at Freddy's and then were upset that the rest of the event wasn't fucking Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. But honestly, I was going to see a lot more of them than I did. I only really noticed a handful of them, and usually it was a young but not like really little kid with a family. So I'm not a fan of the idea overall. It didn't seem like too many people were doing it. But like I said, I'm curious when I go back in 2 weeks when it's not opening weekend, where the more maybe hardcore people go, if there will be more of them about. So I'm going to call it here. I've managed to make a somewhat shorter than normal Halloween Horror Nights video this time. And knowing that I'm going to go back and have a chance to talk about this more, I don't want to ramble on too much further. So I'll be back soon with more Halloween and horror related videos. I'll see you then. Later.